It's protection, accountability, and growth. That's what it's for. And so we're talking about spiritual covering, meaning we are covered spiritually by the authority, leadership, and guidance of a spiritual leader. And this is for protection, accountability, and growth. And so you're not going to find spiritual covering like phrase in the Bible, but you're going to see it in the Bible. And so Hebrews 13:17 says, "Have confidence in your leaders and submit to their authority because they keep watch over you." Everybody say over you.
Over you.
They keep watch over you as those who must give an account. Do this so that their work will be a joy and not a burden. So here we have this scripture, some of it we've heard it, right? Is that they're positioned structurally over you. That's that relational structure that I'm talking about. They are watching over you. They are going to give an account over you. Right? So if they're going to have to give an account, meaning this is your spot you watch over, and you're going to be the one to answer for how you're watching over that. Okay? And so if you're there, right, you see this is your spiritual authority, and your spiritual authority is watching over you, and then guess what? Guess who's watching over them? God. Right? And we're going to give an account to him. And so it's supporting the idea that you and I are being under godly leadership, and that godly leadership watches over us, watches over our spiritual well-being. Is everybody good? 1 Corinthians 11:3. "But I want you to realize that the head of every man is Christ, and the head of the woman is man, and the head of the Christ is God." All right. A head is in what position over the body? I said it already. Over. Right? The head's not down there. It's not under the body, is it? It's over. So here we are. We've got this thing that's over, this covering, this position is above you. You are under it. Okay? It is this covering over you. So Paul is teaching about order here. He's teaching about authority, and a lot of people they can take it all these different ways, but we have to look at it as this is God's idea of the structure of relationships. This is it. There's a head, there's a covering. There's a head in a marriage, there's a head in the church, there's a head in the Godhead. Hello, that's the way he does things. That's the way it works. All right, and so we're going to move on to the next one. Ephesians 4:11-12. "So Christ himself gave the apostles, the prophets, the evangelists, the pastors, the teachers to equip his people for works of service." And so once again, we see this relational order. Jesus himself is appointing. You're going to be over this. You're going to be over this. You're going to be over this. And so these roles, what they all exist for, all the roles that this scripture just said, prophets, evangelists, pastors, all those, they actually are all spiritual oversight roles. So everything is about this spiritual overseeing, this spiritual overseeing. And so it could be overseeing development, functioning, all those things of the ministry in the life of a believer. Acts 20:28 says, "Keep watch over yourselves and all the flock of which the Holy Spirit has made you overseers." So here we are again, over. Spiritual leaders are assigned by God to shepherd and protect the flock. So I want us to make sure we're connecting this spiritual covering with protection. Spiritual covering and protection. We covered it at the beginning, but keep seeing that throughout this. So it's important that you know that a spiritual covering is not about control or dominion. It's about accountability. It's about protection. It's about guidance and submission to godly leadership. And so the covering doesn't replace Jesus, right? He is our ultimate authority. Guess what the covering does? It supports your walk with Him. It's not something different. A spiritual covering supports your walk with Jesus. And so we, as the ones who are covering you spiritually, we're not replacing Jesus. We're just supporting your relationship with Him. He is your ultimate authority. And so, Hebrews 13:17, we mentioned it earlier, and it talks about obeying your leaders because they watch over your souls. All right? And so, God appoints leaders to guard your soul. This is a big deal. God appoints leaders to guard your soul. Your spiritual leaders are not here to control you. They are here to protect you. It's about protection. Always. Their input is a safeguard against deception. How easily it is to be deceived in the world we're living in. Easy to be deceived. You think you can spot it, and you think you can get it, and you think you're strong enough and wise enough and sharp enough. It's so easy to be deceived. It is. We're all subject to being deceived. I've been deceived before. I'm sure everybody in the room's been deceived before. How many times have you lived months at a time deceived? Just walking in deception, totally missed something. Just deceived. And so Proverbs 15:22 says, plans fail for lack of counsel, but with many advisors they succeed. Plans fail for lack of counsel. So this tells me that your plans that you have, they fail when you have no counsel. But when you have many counselors, just lots of help and support, they will succeed. Did you have something? That was Proverbs 15:22. Proverbs 12:15 says, the way of a fool is right in his own eyes, but a wise man listens to advice. So this tells me you're a fool if you think what you're doing on your own is right. You're wise if you listen to advice. See the separation there? That's what this scripture says. The way of a fool is right in his own eyes, but the wise man listens to advice. And so we're looking at these leaders, and they're watching over our souls. God has appointed them. He has picked them, and their work is to watch over you. And so when you bypass their input, right? They're put there, but have you ever done that? You just bypass it. I've done that before. Just, never mind. When you bypass, what you're doing, ladies, is you're bypassing the covering of God. You are bypassing the protection of God. Now you are in trouble. You are at risk. You are at risk. And so you now are subject to deception, emotionally based decisions, and spiritual blindness. And so when you're bypassing that covering was there. God gave it to you to catch what you can't see. To catch what you can't see. And so spiritual leaders are not optional. They're God's structure for protection. Remember that. They're God's structure for protection. They're protecting you. Second point I want to make, the first one, if I didn't tell you, is God appoints leaders to watch over your soul. The second one I want to make is you are not called to decide alone. None of us are. None of us are. When you face a major decision, I've watched tons of you face major decisions. If you haven't, you will. And when you're there, every one of you will be. When you're there, your job is not to announce your decision to your leader. It's to submit it to them. Here's what this looks like. Like, you're not supposed to be the final voice for you. You're not. They are. Because God put them to protect you. You're covered by them. And so, why is that? Because you're too close to your situation to see it. You're too close. You can't see it, but you can feel it. You can feel a lot of things. You feel everything, but you can't see the reality of it. How many times do we run off on our feelings and we're not seeing it rightly? And so, I do this diagram a lot, or this analogy a lot. You can see the pen, you can see the pen, you can see the pen. You can see the pen. You can see it. You can see it, 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 you can see it. Whenever I put it that close. You can't see it. Can't see it anymore. And so, if I'm wrong, don't tell them. No, you can't. You're not. No, you're not. And so, if you're wrong. Just kidding. When it's that close, you're not able to see it like they can. All right? That's the whole point, is that you don't know what's good for you at that point. You don't. And so here's how to do it. Here's how to actually do it. I want your blessing before I move forward. Isn't that cool? Yeah. Instead of, hey, I've decided to do this. I want your blessing before I move forward. That's God's structure. That's His design. Number 3. Honor is not idolatry. Honor is not idolatry. So when we do this, ladies, we're not idolizing our leader. We're not putting them on a pedestal and saying, what do you think? That's not it. You're honoring them. You are honoring them. Honor says, I value your voice more than mine. I value your voice more than mine. That's honor.
So that would be like a role model. Is that right? Like a role model, kind of like somebody you look up to. You honor them. The way you want to kind of follow them.
So you honor your spiritual authority, right? You honor them by saying, hey, I trust your voice more than mine. And so, sure, you can look up to your leaders, but here's the difference. Honor says, I value your voice more than mine. Idolatry says, you are my Savior. Oh. So it's the mindset of, I need you to save me, versus, I value your voice more than mine. So it's a fine line there. We're not calling leaders God. We are recognizing that God placed them where He placed them in our life to reach us and to reach Him. So, you're not to worship your leader. You're to honor their authority. There's a difference. You seek their counsel and you prioritize their wisdom over your emotions. Somebody needs to write that down. Prioritize their wisdom over your emotion. So, fourth thing I want to discuss. Why you need their input before you decide. Why? Because your flesh will lie to you. your trauma will influence your judgment. We're walking you through inner healing. You're receiving a lot of healing. But if you have lingering trauma, which I would say probably everybody in the room does, if there's some lingering trauma from last year or 10 years ago, what can happen is it will influence your judgment on things. I know this to be true. I've experienced it in my own life. I don't have time to share all the times, but I have. I know the difference between a traumatic response that's being influenced by this trauma of I'm judging a situation a certain way, and today I don't even look at it. It's like night and day to me. And I can remember specifically viewing it one way. I can tell you. I can tell you. I'm just going to tell you. I was standing on that parking lot right there. I was stressed out over somebody that I'd hired to work here, and I was frustrated, and I was talking to this lady, and you could say it was like a spiritual covering moment because, I was just kind of telling her like, man, I just feel this and this and this. And she said, do you think you could be self-righteous? And I was like, so offended, but humbly, just humbly, like, just thought, nah, she doesn't understand. That's the way I kind of wrote it off. She just doesn't know the situation. She's not here. She doesn't see it. And today, I go back and I think I would have handled that situation so differently. Not because I've learned a lesson, but because it's not coming from a trauma place. My judgment's not tainted for that person anymore. Not because of anything she's done or did. It's me. Isn't that cool? How your own trauma can change how you view people and how you perceive people and how you can perceive situations. And so when I've walked through my own healing in areas, oh my gosh, night and day. So there's a big gap there, and you never would think it would exist. You think, oh, that's what I know, and that's what I know, and that's what I know. Done deal. It's not a done deal. That changes with your healing. The more you heal, the more it changes your judgment. It's crazy. All right, so why else? Why do you need their input? Why? Because your emotions will make something feel right that is totally wrong. Wouldn't you say that's a good reason? Your emotions will make something feel right that is totally wrong. And when you make decisions in isolation, ladies, you give the enemy open access to deceive you. You do. And I know like a lot of you are not facing this. Maybe you are. Maybe the Lord's really using it. But a lot of you are not facing these big deceptive things just yet. But I promise you, you will. And I want this in you before you get there. I've watched too many people throw their lives away over a feeling. Throw their whole ministry, career, life, future, this beautiful thing they could have. And they throw it away. They don't even see it because they're deceived. And I want you to learn it before you end up there, because once you're there, you can't, it's done. Once you're there, you're so far in it, you cannot be, you've not been under the spiritual authority, you've been weathered. You've been weathered. I'm going to pass this out. I'm going to show you what I mean.
Can I ask what that you just said when making decisions in isolation?
You are, is that making things right? Is that what I said?
Giving the enemy access.
Oh yeah, you're giving access to deceive you. You're opening the door. You're saying, here, come on in and deceive me. And so you'll see the contrast here whenever you're outside of this spiritual covering. What does the picture depict there? What is she going through? Think of those words as like lightning bolts. right? They're hitting her. They're hitting her. It's this. She's being weathered. What is she weathered by? Confusion. List. Name them. Isolation. What else? Confusion. Shame. Rebellion. And what about the other side? She's covered. She cannot be impacted by those things. She is protected. She is protected. It's about protection. It's about covering. It's not about dominion. It's not about control. You are being protected. Why do you think God did it? Why do you think God designed it that way? To protect you, because He's for you, because He loves you. He wants you covered and protected. He knows the enemy's after you. He knows. So He's put a plan in place. He has put shepherds to watch over you, watch over your soul, to protect you. You have to be covered. So what does it look like to walk in submission? I talked about walking in this submission. Here's my positional arrangement that God wants me under. How do we walk in this submission? Well, the wrong way. The wrong way says, I've decided to, I don't even want to put this in your heads because I don't want you to do it, but I've decided to start dating someone. Right? Don't do it. I'm just kidding. All right, so it's just a real life example. How many of, it's just going to happen, right? I've decided to start dating someone. That's the wrong way. That's the wrong way. Yeah. Here's the right way. I've been thinking about dating someone, but I want your input first. What do you think? What do you think about me dating someone and this someone? What do you think about this someone? You know what that says? I honor you. I value your voice over mine. I trust your judgment. I trust your guidance. Isn't that beautiful? All right, something else. These are just, this one may not apply, but I'm going to say it. It's just an example. I've already taken the job just letting you know. So if you have a spiritual covering, and apply it anywhere, that spiritual covering, you are always up under. You're always up under them. So when you're out in the world and you're just picking jobs left and right. I was talking to my little brother about it and how he's just telling his girlfriend to get this job or that job. And I'm just thinking, people need guidance. They need under an umbrella. She needs somebody to go to and say, hey, what do you think about me taking this job? Not a best friend. Not somebody who's going to tell them what they, feel is the best. Somebody that's going to give them beautiful, sound, safe, protected advice. And so, okay, that's the wrong way. I've already taken the job, just letting you know. Okay, sorry. We do this. It's so funny. All right, the next one. Okay, this job opportunity came up, but I won't even consider it unless you believe it's God. Wow. That just makes me like, man, isn't that beautiful submission? Isn't that beautiful? And there's freedom in that. For us, we perceive it as, oh man, that's caged up. There's freedom. There's freedom. You're covered. You're covered. Look at that picture again. You're covered. You're protected. And so, this one is the age-old one of RSM. I'm leaving, God told me. I put, I'm leaving, God told me.
Boy, it makes me
Done. Don't.
Yeah.
It's done. You better not say a word. I'm leaving, God told me. Oh my
Carol
God.
found that on her desk once it was, oh
Yeah.
man, I was there.
Like a sticky note or
Yeah.
something? Don't tell anybody, I think is what it said afterwards.
Yeah,
but,
something like that.
Anyways. All right, I'm leaving, God told me. Here's the right way. Got to know the right way to do this because it's going to come up. I've been wrestling with something. Before I make a move, I need your perspective. Because I'm seeing it this way. Before I make a move, how do you see it? Seems so simple, but we do the wrong way all the time. We tell people what we're going to do, and it's like you have to realize that God, when we honor our leaders before a decision is made, we allow God to speak to us through that setup. That's how God speaks to us. And so there's been times that I've had people and they've been in my office and we're talking about maybe they're wanting to do something that I think is, my spiritual covering, umbrella flaps are going off, and I'm like, no, this ain't good. And Miss Megan's got like this red radar bubble on the top of her umbrella, and it's going, meow, 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 not a good idea. And we're both like, this is not good, okay? Because our job is to protect. Our job is to watch. Oh my gosh, there's danger. I know exactly where she's going. There is a pit of wolves. She will be ravaged, ripped apart. Oh my God, it's our sheep. We got to protect them. No, don't go there. Don't do it. Please, please. Well, I'm really just praying. I've been praying about it. I've been praying about it. I prayed and prayed. I prayed all week, actually. I prayed every day, actually, about it. I've been praying a lot about it. And I still feel this. Okay, here's the miscounter here. We are placed by God. If you're praying, you're not praying to the God that placed us over you, because He would confirm what we're feeling. Does everybody understand that? You can't be hearing from God if it's not something that we are hearing or confirmed. It's not God.
Right.
You're not praying to Yahweh. You're not hearing from Yahweh. You're probably hearing from Satan and his evil, wicked rule, who's everywhere trying to whisper in your ear and give you false confirmation, and baskets popping up at the thrift store. You don't think he has power? Come on. You have to know this. It's real. It's real. It's a conversation we have to have. And we're going to have. And have again. And have again. I take this extremely seriously. I do. Because I'm, oh my gosh, afraid of and God and the fear. Yes, I have the fear of the Lord, but I care about you. Truly. I hope you know that. And so you forget that along the way. Somehow we forget it. She cares about you. And so when we honor our leaders, we're allowing God to speak through that chain of authority. He's speaking, right? So I've also had people in my office and they're like, I've been waiting and I haven't heard anything. And I'm sitting there looking at the situation like I'm in like out-of-body experience. I'm sitting here. Miss Megan's sitting there. The person sitting there, we're telling them, this isn't good. This is not a good thing. Well, God's not really telling me. He's telling you now. It's now. It's now. This is the moment that God is speaking to you. It's right now. But they've separated. They're out of the covering. They're totally deceived. And they're waiting for God to tell them an answer. And I'm telling them, it's now. Wake up. It's right now. God is using me and Miss Megan. He's using us to tell you, no, don't do it. Don't do it. And they totally have separated that. The voice of God is screaming out, pleading, don't. I'm not heard from the Lord. I still believe. So we do this, ladies. We separate ourselves from that covering. And no wonder, I don't have the paper, but No wonder. We're confused. We're rebellious. We're walking in shame. What else? We're isolated. No wonder we can't hear. The rain's everywhere, the thunder. We're not covered. We're not warm. We're shivering. We're cold. Hypothermia. We're out here making crazy decisions because we're not covered. And so a lot of these things we're talking about may not apply to you right now, but they do. You have to get up under this umbrella right now and stay there. You can be in the program running around with no umbrella. You can. Happens all the time. You got to get up under that umbrella. And so, knowing your spiritual covering, you don't pick it, God places it. You don't pick it, God places it. One of the biggest deceptions we can fall into is believing that we get to choose our spiritual covering on preference or comfort or personality. Sorry, newsflash, you can't. You can't. There's an entire, just talk about United States. There's a whole entire United States. There's probably millions of programs all over the world. You could have ended up anywhere on the planet, anywhere locally. But you walked through these doors. And you met me and Miss Megan. Sorry, it was God's plan. I didn't go scout you out. I want that one and that one and that one and bring them in. And no, you came here. You came to this door. We were, right? God walked you through those doors. And he walked you right up under an umbrella. And he said, she's weathered and she needs help. She needs covered. She needs covered. She needs protected. The enemy's after her. Do you know why the enemy's after you so bad?
Because he knows to call it.
You have no idea. You have no idea the threat that you are to the enemy. You have no idea the threat. You freak him out. You freak him out. He tries every way possible to get you out under that umbrella because he wants you out of the game. He does. Get her out quick. Because if she gets this thing, we're going to suffer. Our kingdom will suffer if she gets in the game. It gets me pumped up. I mean, it gets me pumped up because I think of all the times the enemy tried to take me out. I mean, he tried to take me out, oh my gosh, so many times. And I can't help but just see all these people on the same time I got free. And they all just fell away. And I'm like this weather warrior. To the line, and then God just, boom, strengthens me. And I reach this other level, and wow, and he strengthens me, and I learn and I grow. But how many people fell out because the enemy just took them out quick? He does. And he wants to. There's nothing special about me. Nothing. Not a single thing. They were all just as special. They all probably had similar callings. But I couldn't tell you a single one of them who's not relapsed. It's been 12 years since then. One of them's my real dear friend. She's mean to me, but she calls me drunk all the time. Miss Kim Hood, about the only one I know. And she came in whenever I was a staff member, so there's a little bit of years between, but you know what I'm saying? It's real. Not many people make it. And you think they will? And they might be strong. They might be strong. They might make it. I mean, it's possible to make it. I'm not saying that it's not. But the likelihood of you making it out from under an umbrella and actually under one is much more likely. It's much more likely. Is everybody good? All right, so you don't get to choose your umbrella. That's a good little phrase. You don't get to choose your umbrella. You don't get to choose it. So, true spiritual authority is not chosen by me and you. It's assigned by God, and so He's a God of order. And He places people under shepherds, and He places people under leaders and coverings for their protection and growth and guidance, like we talked about. That means that your spiritual covering is something that it's not something you go out and shop for, so to speak. It's someone that God places you under. And this is divine. Divine. Do you know that God handpicked me and Miss Megan for you to be under? Like, handpicked it. It's not by this random happenstance. He handpicked me and Miss Megan to cover you because He put something inside of me and her specifically that was specifically tailor-fitted to cover you. He knows you totally, completely. And He put something in us that can cover that in such a beautiful way. There are things that we see in you. There are patterns and behaviors that we see and notice in you. And I can, if nobody was in here, I could speak to that and I could say, this is how I perceive you. And I could go pretty deep with it. I just saw it the other day. You were in my office. We were laughing about something, but I was seeing something else. I'm not talking about anything like spooky, weird, whatever. I'm talking about I'm seeing what's in there. And God allows me to see what's in there. And it's because He handpicked me and Miss Megan to cover you. And 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 to cover you. Don't just put yourself in a pot and say, yeah, I'm in the mix. Individualize it to cover you. And I consider that an absolute honor. I take it very seriously. And so I pray you will too. Because I feel like sometimes I'm over here taking it so serious and y'all are just kind of like, whatever. And I'm over here like blood, sweat, tears, literal tears just into this, and I want to help. And how many conversations have we had over and over about what to do and how to help you, and then bye, peace out. It's been a great year. And I never hear from you again. So I'm watching these sheep who never got under the umbrella in the first place. There's no way you did. Because you wouldn't have made those crazy decisions. You wouldn't have isolated yourself. Right? And so, get under the umbrella now. Come and get advice. Come and say, hey, what do you think about this? My mom was talking about bringing the kids to visit, and I don't want to say anything just yet because I know there's a lot of trauma there. And what do you think? What do you think about it? What's your perception on it? Start there. That's how you stay under that protection. So, your spiritual covering, not something you shop for, right? It's something God places by appointment. So if you're here at RSM, then this is your spiritual covering. This is that. Hey, that's what God decided. Everybody get that? I want you to get that. Okay. So you were led here by God. We've discussed this. You were placed under this leadership to care for your soul and speak into your life, challenge you, push you, spur you on to good works. That's why you're brought here. And help you grow. And so to try to handpick another covering just because it feels more comfortable is like walking away from the umbrella that God gave you standing in the rain. It's pouring rain. I'd rather just stand out here. No matter where you go and where you search and try to find another spiritual covering, it's counterfeit. It's an upside down, flipped up umbrella. You ever seen one of those? And the wind blows? It's counterfeit. It's not going to cover you. It still holds like one. You feel good about yourself because you got your little mentor going on. But guess what? Your umbrella's flipped up upside down. You're still getting rained on. You are. Get back under the covering that God designed for you. I'm not saying that all of you are going to stay up under it all the time. You might squirm out But when you get wet, you'll become soaking back underneath the thing. Dry off for a while. Isn't that cool? And so, why it matters. Why does this matter in recovery? Why am I even talking about this? Because a lot of you are just learning to trust again. Yeah. Went over those surveys that I did. Thank you for filling those out, the inner healing surveys. And what I gathered is a lot of you are still just learning to trust again. I find that that's like the biggest theme. You're all just trying to trust again. You're on this journey of, can I trust it? Can I trust it? Can I trust it? Well, she did that because she blah, blah, blah. It's all about trust, 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 trust. Well, do they really want what's best for me? Do they want to rob me of everything and blah, blah, blah? You are just trying to trust again. And you know what that looks like. And so that's why it matters. You're especially trying to trust spiritual authority. That's something that you're like, what is this? I'm usually like running from authority, so now I'm supposed to be like right up close up under? That's weird, you know? So it's this big, huge culture shock transition, but it's tempting, ladies, to gravitate towards people who feel less confrontational or more familiar. Well, I just like them better. They just make me feel better. Remember that F word that we don't say? Feel, not. But, yeah, we do that. We all do that. Well, it feels better, and I just connect better with that person, and it just feels more comfortable for me, and that's what I need. Yeah, because your faith is symbolized by a dandelion, isn't it? Or by a bloody, messy cross. Which one? Okay, just go ahead and do what's comfortable then, because what? That's not even it, ladies. That's not it. Have you forgotten? Christianity, Christ, the cross, suffering, lots of uncomfortability. And so we run to comfort. We run to people we can connect better with, who we can get more flowy with and connect better and feel better and vibe better. And you're just like inching yourself away from the cross and you don't even realize it. It just happens. It happens. We live in a comfort-focused society. What can be better and better and better and better? There's podcasts, there's preaching, there's church service help, and there's no scriptures. Because the scriptures always point to the cross, not comfort. They always point to persecution, suffering. Endure hardship as a good soldier. We've got to stay focused on the cross. And staying under that spiritual covering, whether it's comfortable or not, is a big part of that. So don't be deceived in thinking that it's more comfortable, meaning it'll be more effective. No, the cross is always enough, every time. There's nothing more effective than that. Nothing. It's there. Just read it. So I want to encourage you, ladies, stay fixed on that, because the moment you move into this comfort gospel, this comfort, you're going to miss the beauty of those seasons when it's hard, when it does feel like a cross. Then you're going to be like, well, they told me I was supposed to be more comfortable, and they told me this was going to be a cakewalk, and now I'm out here and getting beat up and hit on, and then you leave the faith altogether because you're so disappointed. But isn't it great somebody's telling you right up front, hey, you're going to suffer, you're going to be persecuted, it's going to suck sometimes, you're going to be disoriented. Newsflash, that's what we signed up for, and there's no greater honor than suffering for the one who suffered for us. There's not. But lace up but you look what you're made out of. You made it through all you went through. You can do it. That's why he's freaked out about you, because he knows you know how to suffer. How many times would you go without food on purpose? How many times would you choose? I chose to live in a camper with no heat in the dead of winter because I couldn't even tell you why. Because I was full-blown addiction. I remember trying to get warm in the camper. I remember brushing my teeth with a water bottle before school. This was in high school. Freezing, alone in a camper. For addiction. I know how to suffer. Yeah. Self-inflicted for a long time. I could tell you on and on and on and on. You know how to suffer because it's the path you chose for your addiction. But are we choosing that same path for the Lord? Are you choosing the path of suffering for the Lord or the path of comfort? I love it. God knows what kind of leadership you need, even if it challenges you and makes you uncomfortable. He knows you need that. And maybe that may not be you, but you have to know stepping outside your God-given covering opens you to that same thing you're holding, deception and all of that. If you're not under that roof, if you're not under that covering, there's a spiritual thing. It's a spiritual thing. 1 John 1:7 says, if we walk in the light as he is in the light, we have fellowship with one another. We have fellowship with one another. And so here's the beauty of it. If we're all walking under that umbrella, we have fellowship with one another that we could never, ever understand. You're going to connect better with one another because you're all under the same umbrella. A lot of issues you're experiencing, maybe in friendships or people here, all of that would kind of dissipate because everybody would be under the same umbrella. Because if you're deceived and you're not, y'all aren't going to get along sometimes. You're not going to understand each other. So maybe a lot of the strife and the quarreling that can happen here is just because you're not under the same covering. Wouldn't it be cool if we all got under the same covering and we would have unity together and fellowship with one another? If we walk in the light as he is in the light is God's given design. That means we're right before God. We're under the covering, righteousness, rightness. And now we have this amazing fellowship with one another.